Can I help you? Yes, I have a reservation under Anderson.
I don't see any reservation here, and quite frankly, our rooms start at $800 a night.
We don't really have the facilities for your situation.
Grace's hands trembled slightly as she started recording on her phone, keeping it low and out of sight, while Kyle smirked and whispered something to Victoria that made them both chuckle. A young bellboy named Daniel Hughes had been watching from across the lobby and walked over quickly, asking if everything was okay. Victoria snapped at him to stay in his lane and go check on the luggage, but Daniel ignored her completely and looked at Grace with genuine kindness, offering to help her get settled and speak with the manager personally. Kyle laughed mockingly and told Daniel he was going to get himself fired for some random girl who probably couldn't even afford valet parking. Before Daniel could respond, the elevator doors opened and a distinguished man in an impeccable suit stepped out with silver hair, carrying himself with the kind of quiet authority that commanded immediate respect. James Anderson surveyed the lobby, his sharp eyes landing on the tense scene at the front desk, and he walked over with measured, deliberate steps. "Is there a problem here?" he asked calmly. Victoria straightened up immediately, recognizing power when she saw it, and stammered that it was just a misunderstanding. James looked at Grace and their eyes met briefly before he introduced himself as James Anderson, the man who had recently acquired the property, and then he paused deliberately before adding that Grace was his daughter. The color drained completely from Victoria's face as Kyle took an instinctive step backward, suddenly realizing the catastrophic magnitude of their mistake. James explained that Grace had been helping him evaluate the actual culture and service standards of the hotel, and she had recorded everything that happened. He turned to Daniel and asked for his name, and when Daniel nervously answered, "Daniel Hughes, sir," James immediately promoted him to guest experience manager with triple his current salary, telling him to report to HR the next morning. Then he looked back at Victoria and Kyle with ice-cold eyes and told them security would escort them out because they were done. Grace stood up slowly from her wheelchair, rising to her full height and standing completely steady on both feet. And she explained that she had injured her knee last month and it was healing. But that didn't matter because every person deserves respect, regardless of their situation. Victoria stammered desperately that they didn't know who she was, but James cut her off coldly, saying that was exactly the point. They didn't know, and they didn't care to find out. As security arrived to escort them out, Daniel stood speechless with tears forming in his eyes, completely overwhelmed by the unexpected turn his life had just taken. Grace smiled warmly at him and said, "Kindness always finds its way back to you, Daniel, and it always will. True character shows up when nobody's watching, so drop a heart if you believe Daniel deserved this moment."